I had it. There we go. And welcome you all to the second episode of second season Chaotic Town Hall. I am your host, Tokyo Trekker. Welcome. And on the panel with me right now is God himself, John DeMarco.
Greetings, everyone.
And I've lost my audio cues. There we go. And joining us, I believe, for maybe the first or second time. Oh, that's looping. But on our panel today, I'd also like to welcome a good friend of mine. He's got an awesome channel, defends crappy movies and crappy TV shows, and is an all-around really funny guy. Say hello, everybody, to Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Hey there. I gotta make a correction to you. I put in Defensive Thursdays on pause to review the Waltons.
Okay.
Yeah, but don't mind me if you hear me swearing here a little bit in the background. I'm been here dying like every 2 minutes.
What you playing?
Minecraft.
Oh. You can always just put it on creative mode.
No, I'm collecting absurd amounts of items for the thing there. The plus I gotta go on some more head hunting for the bridge because I'm lining the whole bridge with heads, and I've only placed like 1,000 heads.
That's awesome. All right, folks. So if you're new to the Chaotic Town Hall, welcome. The way this works is that we'll field questions from the chat. Anybody that wants to come backstage and talk to our Legion, the link will be posted at the top of the chat. Once it reaches there, it has been pinned, and you can come back and be on camera if you would like. Or you can post your questions right here in the chat. Also, folks, link to my Discord server is in the description box below. If you click on that and click on our channel, which is Town Hall Talk, you'll be able to post your questions there, and we will field questions as well from Discord. That being said, if there are no questions coming from the chat at all, we will go ahead and just go to a default conversation list that we have, and you feel free to participate in that conversation. If you are watching this on replay, you can post questions in the comments section. And we'll be able to answer those questions for you on an upcoming Chaotic Town Hall. And a special kapla to my good friend Bird O Prey 5. Welcome, my friend. Thank you for coming in. And if you'd like to join the panel and discuss all things default until somebody asks a question, the link will be at the top of the chat. It's right now in the middle of it somewhere because there's not much going on in the chat. So come on board. Anything, Bird, anything is open. No specific topic. You control the narrative. It can be anything that will not get the stream shut down, even though we're not monetized. It doesn't matter. But yeah. YouTube does care about certain topics. So we try to stay away from the obvious. And folks, if you are not subscribed to our Discord server, come join the Discord server. And we got some other Discord servers there that I can highly recommend that you're not going to want to miss. And we talk about all kinds of things, anything you want to talk about. So,
I see you in there as well, Thomas. We're not ignoring you.
And you're both here. Welcome. Thomas says, why do I bother commenting on streams when I get completely ignored? And Cinnabon follows up with, why are YT trivia games always rigged? John, you want to take that?
I am aware of no rigging of YouTube trivia games, so I have no idea what they're talking about.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. And we see you, Thomas. You're not going to be ignored here. So, anyway, if there are no further questions. Oh, I'm being challenged. Well, Thomas, why don't you run for the Federation presidency too, my friend? We can have a 6-way debate. And,
When you put 100% of the vote in, I don't even think. Let's see, how can I put this? Because I'm not sure. The leader of 1940 Soviet Union got that many numbers. I'm not sure if his name is stricken from YouTube yet.
Kim Jong also, I think, got 100% of the vote.
Yeah.
Do you think the library cabal has gone too strong? I'm going to throw this to the panel because I have no comment on this. Speaking of a library cabal,
Well, my opinion is that librarians perform an important service for their communities.
Yes, as I said before, if an EMP goes off, librarians are going to be the only Google we have.
I don't need information.
And Thomas Potts is putting up Cinnabon 2022. I don't even think he knows he's running.
Yeah, because if an EMP goes off, we're gonna be too busy trying to survive and get our own food to be worrying about information.
Oh, this is true.
Because hell, if I gotta go get some fish for supper, I gotta walk. I'd have to walk 8 miles or 6 miles to the closest lake. I've never even had much luck on that lake.
That's why I need to get like a gun and a bow and arrow and go out and start, developing a taste for squirrel.
Oh, I don't need. I got. Oh, squirrel you can take out with a pellet gun. And the squirrel's not that bad, actually.
No, I prefer rabbit. Rabbits are delicious.
Yeah, but you'll starve on rabbit.
Oh, that's true.
Rabbits. It's called rabbit starvation. Like, it's good to have like every once in a while, but overall, if you don't have anything to supplement it, you'll starve to death because you won't get any nutrients.
That explains a lot about the Oregon Trail.
You collected 10,000 rabbits, 800 pounds of meat, and you'd still die of dysentery.
Yep.
Alrighty then. Let's see. All right. So now I'm going to be accused of future cannibalism. Thank you, Thomas. Right. Okay. So
it's not cannibalism if you don't identify as a human.
I could always identify as a Alex Kurtzman Klingon.
Klingark?
Yeah. House Takuma feasted on your flesh. How can you be here? Speaking of screwed up things here, I'm going to throw this topic at you guys. I know, John, you're going to be familiar with what I'm about to ask, but Gorilla, have you seen and been caught up with Prodigy?
Yes.
Okay. I want to throw this at you.
Not the most recent episode because I'm waiting for my kid to get back.
Oh, okay. But you saw last week's though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, pretty much okay, because I think at this point, you kind of get a good picture of where I'm going with this. Hold on. We've got ourselves a question, or is this for Bird? Bird said some horrible things about the whale probe today. Should he be canceled? I'm going to throw this to you guys.
Well, I would agree that he did say some horrible things about the whale probe today. We don't want to cancel Bird. We'd miss out on all those glorious rants.
And epic cursings.
This is what I feel about cancel culture. Just imagine me dropping my pants and sticking my ass out at you. That's what I think about cancel culture.
All right. And okay, so let's go ahead and let me throw this at you guys until another question pops up here. You think Janeway's being character assassinated?
But I think she's bigger improvement than in Voyager, to be honest.
Big improvement. Please elaborate.
I just like the character better here now. I no longer feel like she's insane way. You know, it's a lot more. She feels more like a captain now than she did in Voyager, where because in Voyager I felt that it made more sense that they just made her a first officer or first or second officer, and then she got thrown into the captaincy instead of just being captain straight out. I just think it's an improvement. I'm just enjoying the character better.
Sean?
I didn't really think they were doing character assassination on Janeway either. Although, because I'll admit that I think Janeway was pretty much crazy anyway. So I think her behavior has been fairly consistent.
I see. I don't like what they're doing with Janeway. I don't. I imagine Janeway as being what she was on Voyager, but I never imagine her being totally villainous like she is. Yeah, she's gone.
How was she villainous in the Slaps episode?
All right, so I'm going to avoid spoilers, but in this latest episode, you'll see why. The things that they've had her do, the words that they've had her say, the actions she's taken are so not like her. I'll just put it that way.
Are you talking about with Diviner, like her trying to get answers out of him?
No, that whole thing with the Diviner, I don't picture her being the first one to say, "Hey, let's beam him back to the ship," like she did, because he's got answers. I could see 7 of 9 beaming him back to the ship, but not Janeway. Case in point, the Vaudouar. It's not a beaming him back to the ship type of thing, but it's along the same lines. Janeway was comfortable looking around and getting information from other places, but here comes 7 of 9 waking up one of the one of those dudes, one of the Vaudouar.
But they can't assassinate her character more than what she did to Tuvix.
Yeah. But I'll take Tuvix back to what Cinnabon has said, and then I'm highlighting here. She didn't want Tuvix. She didn't need Tuvix. Tuvix was a transporter accident. She needed her best friend to be separate from the Talaxian stowaway.
So they gave her a right to murder Tuvix?
No.
Because she had no guarantee that when she sent it back to the transporter there, that was separated them and they will have lived. There was absolutely no guarantee of that. So therefore, Tuvix could have died in vain.
True. I'm not excusing Janeway from that. I just talking about her mindset. But when you watch this episode, you'll see what it is I'm talking about. John, do you have any? Do you have 2 cents on this one?
What I think is that that Janeway can be obsessive. We've seen that a number of times in Voyager, and the first one that comes to mind is Equinox. And she did some things in that episode that were virtually villainous, if you will. So I don't think it's necessarily out of line with her. Some of the stuff that I've seen her do in Prodigy.
I will say, yeah, I agree, but the villainous aspect was built up by Ransom's actions. He's supposed to represent Starfleet. He's a captain. He's held in higher regard than anybody else in Starfleet. And he's killing these innocent beings for fuel. So, yeah, I can see Janeway being, slowly built up to being a villain, but
What
not.
would you do in his place?
What do you mean?
Like they're starving, they're low on power, and they found out that those things can keep them going. What would you do in his place?
I'm not in his place, but I definitely wouldn't be trying to kill beings for fuel.
You'd be
That's
amazed what
indefensible.
you do when you're when you're in a desperate circumstance.
Well,
Unless you've actually been in those circumstances, nobody knows what they do.
well, we know what Captain Ransom did, and we know how Janeway reacted from it. Again, my point being that reactionary pattern was built up in Janeway through the progress of the episode, whereas here, a little bit of a spoiler, it was instantaneous, marred with some questionable words. And that is definitely not like Janeway at all. Let's go into the chat real quick. And Records to New York when Professor isn't here. I find it suspicious. Yeah. Professor doesn't like to come on board anymore. I wonder what's going on. Let's see. Thomas also follows up with, did Kirk murder the other Kirk in The Enemy Within? I'm going to throw this to you guys.
I mean, I don't think so. I got the impression that they couldn't survive if they remained separate.
Yeah, no, they flat out said the one could not survive without the other, so they had to. So either you lose Kirk altogether, or you make and it'd be in vain, or you make the attempt to combine them back together so that Kirk could survive.
Thomas Potts. Hi, Aravic. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show. Says Gorilla would kill the aliens and put the skulls on the ship.
Oh, come on. I only placed 1,000 skulls. That's only half of my collection.
And then someone with sodium chloride would come over and mine the crap out of your bridge. Bradwell says, Tokyo, remember Ransom asked her if she broke the Prime Directive? She straight up lied and said no, but I've bent it on occasion. She has broken the PD when it was inconvenient to her. How before then? What do you guys think about that one before Equinox? Her breaking the Prime Directive flat out.
I need the examples here because I can't for remembering there. I can remember several instances on Picard flat out breaking the Prime Directive.
Mm-hmm. I can remember a couple of instances of Janeway's crew breaking the Prime Directive. The Sikaris incident, for one.
The what?
The spatial trajector.
Oh, Oh yeah, because she flat out she wasn't she may have been in charge, but she wasn't responsible for that one.
No, she was very upset with that. And above all, Tuvok.
That will have hurt her more than anything. Tuvok breaking it.
Yeah.
The Prime Direct.
Well, I would argue that she violated the Prime Directive when she made an alliance with the Borg.
How was that a violation of the Prime Directive?
Okay, yeah, I need to hear this one. You're on the spot, John.
Because she is interfering in the conflict between the Borg and Species 8472 that doesn't have anything to do with the Federation. They're just passing through. But she decided to ally herself with the Borg because it would be personally advantageous for her ship. Even though Chakotay said they should just let the two of them fight it out and the Voyager can just go on their merry way.
Good point.
Hindsight, yeah. At the time, no. And I think, Gorilla, you said it best when we put Janeway on trial for that. She couldn't have known that the Borg started that war right off the bat. She couldn't have known that it was actually 8472 that would turn out to be a quote-unquote ally to the Federation, well, to Voyager at that point, after she did her negotiations with them at the faux pas San Francisco Starbase thing.
Well, my point is she didn't know. I'm not saying she shouldn't necessarily sided with 8472 either. I think she should have stayed out of it.
Yeah, well, I've heard so many different arguments on this. It's kind of hard to decide like which way to go on that, because they didn't know what like that the Borg started it and stuff, but also what they got from Kess going on Kess's thing there is that they're just going to take out the whole galaxy. But is that true or not true? Because like the one of the arguments I heard is like if they will have been listening as we're storming the beaches of Normandy and stuff, also you'd be hearing in people's mind is we got to not completely wipe out Germany. Got to completely, which we didn't, but that's all that's the only information you'd have. That's if I'm making sense on what I'm saying here.
Yeah, so you and Thomas brought up a good point. The 8472 saying your galaxy will be purged. In the defense of 8472, and I don't know if anybody here would consider calling them the Undine, as their proto canon name is from Star Trek Online, and I say proto for a number of reasons, thanks to Terry Matalas.
Who's Terry Matalas?
The showrunner of Star Trek Picard.
Oh, okay.
Who was also a producer in TNG and Voyager. 8472's only interaction with our galaxy was the Borg. So them thinking that the entire galaxy is the Borg or is as bad as the Borg, yeah, they would probably have a pretty good assumption that the entire galaxy needs to, go because all they've seen of our galaxy is the Borg. So when the Undine come aboard, or not, they didn't never came aboard Voyager, but when they're mentally attacking Kess and mutilating Borg and piling them up for everybody to see and turning poor Harry Kim into a plant, I'd probably side with the Borg too if I was Janeway, because I need to get out of Borg space, because once A472 is taking care of the Borg. They're threatening to destroy the entire galaxy and turning people into plants. Yeah.
Have you ever listened to a guy called Lore Runner?
Once or twice.
Because he had a good point on the Scorpion episode. There is with the species A and species B, or species B can take out species A, but who says species A can't take out, or species A takes out species B, and species B can take out. Ah, God, you'll have to look at a Scorpion, the Scorpion video, because he did a great, excellent thing on like, yeah, the Borg can wipe us out, but the 8472 can wipe the Borg out. We can wipe out species 8472. Who says that? So Janeway didn't really have to get into that conflict because of that, because we knew how to take them out. But he did a lot better than what I can describe it as.
Ervik, I think, not think, but 8472 was getting ready to infiltrate the Federation after Voyager got involved.
Yep.
So it wasn't like that they already established that starbase in the middle of nowhere for infiltration reasons because of XYZ. They did it after as a retaliatory action against Voyager. And that action with Voyager having to get in there, infiltrate that, and clean that mess up, that was right, because they had to clean up that mess there. Ship already encountered Voyager before they said that. I think they did. I have to watch that Scorpion again. I think, yeah, there was an encounter with them beforehand. All right, so moving on to our next built-in topic for our second half. I'm going to throw this out to the chat as well. If you want to ask any questions about this, go right ahead. Another argumentative point that I brought up was Rok Tok. And Gorilla, this is going into spoilers for this episode.
Okay, I don't care about spoilers and all that.
Okay. There is a scene where the sand speeder, or the mini sand barge from Return of the Jedi, is being chased by snow speeders from Empire Strikes Back. And I am not joking on these descriptions, by the way, Gorilla. This is exactly what they are.
Sounds like an Andor question.
It sounds like an Andor question, but it is it's a Star Trek question, believe it or not. And one of the snow speeders rams the sand barge. Our heroes are on the sand barge, and it kind of careens. It does a complete 360, but manages to stay on course. We cut to a scene of Rok Tok picking up a crate. And I'm putting Rok Tok really much on the spot because she's a gifted scientist, Michael Burnham, and she knows what she's doing. It's basic physics. And she uses the momentum of the barge to hurl a large crate at one of the snow speeders, hits the snow speeder, careens into a mountain, explosion, assumed death. How do you feel? Now, yes, I know all the counterpoints to this. She's defending her friends, this and everything else. Yeah, I understand that, but I want to put it to you guys. For a show that is supposed to be for kids, how do you feel about one of the child characters having a body count? And I'm going to throw this to John first. He's been more involved in this conversation on Discord than most anybody else on the panel right now. And dang it, Jeff, get up here.
Well, I'll say first of all that I didn't really care for the chase scene in this last episode. I don't think it really fit with the tone of the show. And but as for the thing about Rok throwing that thing at the other speeder, making it crash, I don't think she had the intention of killing anybody. I think she was just trying to defend her friends. Now, whether or not that's right for a kids show, that's a little bit questionable. It would have been fine with me if they just dropped this whole chase scene altogether.
I'm pretty sure there's shows, especially from the 80s and 90s, that people have body counts.
Yeah, G.I. Joe comes to mind. But they're not, the characters that are killing each other are not kids. So the question remains, kids killing, and then we come up against Power Rangers, but they're killing. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers killed objects that turned into monsters through magic. And then when they were killed, they turned back into those objects. Like some random high school girl's locket became the Oysterizer. And the Power Rangers, who were kids, killed the Oysterizer and it turned back into the locket, though. But the question is, Rok Tok is a lot younger than Power Rangers. So is it still okay?
Well, is that any different than say a bunch of kids go and throw like water on a witch, and then all of a sudden the witch dissolves or melts and stuff? I can't remember which show that was on, but that was a kids show.
I think you're thinking about the Wizard of Oz, and Dorothy was in her 20s.
No, this was a different one. This was a cartoon.
Throwing water on a witch and the witch dissolves.
Maybe it was Hansel and Gretel, or what about Hansel and Gretel? What about that fairy tale where the kids kill the witch because the witch was going to eat them?
That was a pretty horrible story.
Yeah, but is that?
I'm not defending the witch, but that was a horrible story. I mean, I liked Hansel and Gretel, but it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, but is it any different than that?
I would say on a degree, yes, on a degree. That degree being, you can associate the witch with an evil demon or some sort of dark force. The Xindi, and yes, they are Xindi in this episode, the Xindi are not a dark force. In fact, they're working with the Federation to secure this outpost. So I don't see...
See, I haven't seen the episode, so I don't know the context of all this.
Yeah, that was a problem too, Sin. It's so problematic. John, what do you think of the Hansel and Gretel analogy versus the Xindi? Poor Xindi.
Well, I think it may be a little bit different when we're talking about a fairy tale, because that's obviously in a fantasy context. Well, I'm not going to say Star Trek's exactly down to earth, but it's I don't know if more real is the correct word or not, but it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of a different situation.
No, fantasy versus fantasy. Not fantasy. Teaching kids good versus evil in Hansel and Gretel versus being I can't get the words out.
Well, the way you described it, there's defend himself. So it's good versus evil versus defending yourself and your friends for self-preservation.
While being juvenile fugitives. That's it. Having stolen Federation property been identified as having possession of said stolen Federation property.
Yeah, but did they really steal it? I mean, they found it in a mine that they're getting worked as slaves.
Starfleet doesn't know that. We also got to look at the point of Starfleet. They don't know. For Janeway's also thinking off of the word of, or I call them discount Phlox or Phlox Light, who went into kind of a racist rant, and Janeway agreed with him that they don't know what happened to Chakotay. They think that these juvenile delinquents stole the ship and killed Chakotay.
And this leads me to the biggest problem I have with the last episode is that nobody just communicated with each other. There are multiple occasions where the kids could have explained what was going on, but every time basically they just ran off instead of explaining what was going on.
Wait, but didn't they explain that even if they send a message to the other ship, then that virus or whatever would affect the ship that they're trying to communicate with?
So here's the thing:
they were face to face.
They're on a planet face to face. They had hidden the ship away somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, they buried it in the ice. Which some people would say, "Oh, what a cool throwback to Voyager Timeless." Because they buried the ship in the ice, but the ice or the sands, whichever one you want to consider this planet, Hoth or Tatooine. Let's head to the chat for just a second, folks. And Brad Wolf says, what I understand from Hansel and Gretel, there's a difference between going out to murder someone and defending yourself from who intends to harm and kill you. I'm throwing this to you guys.
Oh, okay, what was the question again?
Oh, the comment that's highlighted here.
Oh, okay, just a sec.
Between going out and murdering someone and defending yourself against someone who intends to harm you.
Well, it depends when they go out. Is this from this last episode?
Still? In general.
Well, if you're out and about and someone attacks you, you can still defend yourself there. Are they being attacked when they go out and about, or is it they actually went out to actually do purposely? Oh, I'm going out and I'm going to kill this person. There's a difference between that and being attacked when you go out somewhere and you end up hurting the other person.
Well, I'm of the impression that I desire to see Rok Tok come down to, because she wasn't the type to just wantonly take a life or even potentially take a life. She's a gentle giant, even though she used her appearance to kind of antagonize Dahl in the beginning, but Dahl had no idea, and she was just trying to help him. But before the universal translator, it just sounded like "roar, roar, roar, I'm going to eat you," in her defense. But there was absolutely no reaction from her when that ship exploded. In fact, the reaction that we saw was Zero realizing what had just happened, and Zero picked up something to try and throw at another Xindi. Sorry to cut you off, John.
That's all right. I was just saying is that I think she probably reacted on instinct because she was in a dangerous situation. I don't think it was her intention to murder anybody. If anything, I think it was more like self-defense.
And Thomas Potts asks a very good question. How would the show continue if Starfleet gets the ship back?
Well, then Starfleet puts a real crew back on the ship and trains the kids to be real Starfleet officers, for example.
The same way Voyager will continue if Janeway didn't blow up the array and got the crew back home on the first episode.
Yeah, you just have. Well, I kind of Voyager. I would have liked to have seen gone home in season 4, and then just because you can do a lot with this unified crew that had to come together under certain circumstances, and then they have to deal with the consequences of everything leading up to Voyager, like Chakotay and B'Elanna being on trial and things like that, or even a season 8 or even a mini series where you see the crew having to deal with the consequences of being Maquis. That would have been cool.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure as soon as they got back, Janeway said, "Pardon these people; they've been exemplatory." I guarantee you that's what Janeway would have done.
Well, I'm not saying that Rok Tok went out there for the sole and I agree with John, for the sole purpose of killing Xindi. Becoming the color of Xindi, as I like to call her. I just think that it's bad writing. The show is terrible. It's bad writing as far as I'm concerned. She shouldn't have been the one to do it. Okana, he's a coward, but I could see him tossing something and accidentally hitting the Xindi ship and blowing it up.
Let's say you didn't even have to have that beat in the chase. I guess is what I'm thinking. You want to have a chase scene for some action, fine, but it wasn't really necessary to have one of the speeders crash and blow up.
Dahl could have the skill to evade and still keep us on the edge of our seats and get away from the Xindi. And then later on, we discovered that Okana was, stowing away on the sand barge, and then still have that entire encounter. There should not have been a situation where the writers thought it was okay, justifiable or not, to have one of the child characters kill in a kid's show. Yeah,
but you still have that in fairy tales. There might be scenes there, or it might have been justifiable, or else some of your fairy tales might not exist there either.
Yeah, and some of the Japanese fairy tales are really graphic and gory and outright scary. Especially Momotaro going to the island of the damned to go beat up on demons. Yeah, it was really bad. Ervik bringing up another good point.
What'd he say?
Why the show sucks. Why are they all wearing dress uniforms? How is the dress uniform the uniform of the day while on duty?
Maybe they're all out of clean uniforms?
Well, I know that when they were down on the planet, Janeway and her crew were wearing, I think they're supposed to be cold weather uniforms. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
No, it was when they were in the when they're on their regular duty, when they're on watch. You see them all in dress uniforms.
I don't know. That's this normal style of uniform in this time period.
I kind of like the lower decks uniforms. They could have made the crew wear lower decks uniforms. That would have made a little bit of sense. But that is just me. Ervik is accusing you of being a Janeway hater there, Gorilla. Moving on.
Hey, tell Ervik there's a reason I call her Insane Way.
I kind of like your being insane. Thomas Potts brings up another good one. This was from the cliffhanger of the episode.
Yeah, for that part, I'm waiting to see how they deal with that in the next episode.
Yeah, because Romulus is still around and the Empire is still pretty strong at this point. I can't believe this. We're adopting that as canon. Ugh. Ervik is inquiring, is that Okana from TNG? Did he not know above warp? How do you not know above warp 4? At you, John.
Yeah, I don't know about that specifically unless his ship was just really that slow.
I don't think many people liked Okana.
Yeah, he was rather outrageous.
Indeed. Londell's Groovy Movies. Shout out to Mr. Londell. How you doing, buddy?
Hey there, Mr. Londell.
Brothers Grimm left us with some graphic children's stories as well. Yeah. Indeed. Brad Wolf chimes in. Tokyo. I am okay with kids in shows killing if and only if they face the consequences. If they are happy-go-lucky after the fact, I'm not down with that. But that's my in general opinion. I agree with that. I want to see Rok Tok come to realization that she took somebody out. Because when you have a character like 7 of 9 in Picard, who's sharing a drink with, was it Raffi or was it Rio? It was Rios, I think, about killing for any reason after she took out the incestuous Romulan sister. Forgot her name. Forgettable character. After kicking her off of a ledge on the Borg cube. Krug style. Yeah. If Rok Tok goes into the next episode perfectly fine and okay, this show becomes one of the worst Treks in history.
Oh no. It'd take a lot to make it worse than Discovery.
This would be it. I think this would put it on par with Discovery. I know it's not a very popular opinion, but I am very much in my dislike for Prodigy. And I only watch it for Janeway. No matter how much crap I gave Janeway in the past, she is my number 2 Trek captain. Number 1 being Sisko. And speaking of Sisko, I'm going to throw this out there too, knowing the Romulans as well as we do. If the truth came out about what happened in the Pale Moonlight to the Romulan Empire, do you think the Romulans would actually be PO'd, or would they respect the cunning and the absolute wherewithal of the Federation to sign off on such a dastardly deed? John, I'm throwing that to you first.
If I had to guess, I would say that publicly they would have to act offended, but they might secretly admire basically Sisko's ruthlessness in this situation.
Gorilla?
John kind of took the words right out of my mouth. They're and it kind of depends on who's in charge and what era there is. But also they'd be proud of the move. They'd say it's so Romulan, but yet they'd be pissed. They'd be that proud as they're attacking our ships for doing that to them.
Here's our next interesting topic. What was with the badges being from the alternate TNG future? I've got my own theories on that, considering we are messing with time travel in this series, but I'm going to throw this to Gorilla first.
Okay, which episode are we talking?
All of them. The badges from in Starfleet, they're all the alternate TNG badges.
I guess I don't get what you're saying.
Well, all good things, Endgame. Oh shoot, all good things, Endgame, and the Visitor from DS9 all featured this comm badge, this style of comm badge, and they were all alternate futures. Each time this comm badge came up was all from an alternate future.
Okay, so so uh so there's two timelines then there that had different time of badges. It's just an alternate. It's probably the same alternate universe, different badge.
John?
What I would guess is that since we're moving closer in the timeline to those alternate futures, so they decided to go ahead and just change the comm badge. I know those futures were wiped out by changing the timeline. Maybe, nevertheless, that's just what the Starfleet comm badge looks like in this time period.
My theory is this is an alternate timeline. We're going to have a reset somewhere. Also, considering that there's a lot of Kelvin in the designs of the ships, I'm thinking we're in an alternate timeline and we're going to have a reset. Don't know when, but I think we're going to. I'm going to throw that to you guys. What do you guys think of that theory?
What, that they're gonna have a reset?
Yeah.
It's no different than they do that. They've done that a lot with soft reboots.
John?
I mean, I don't know if they're going to do a reset. I suppose it's possible, but to my impression, they want to try to keep all their shows connected as much as possible. All the new ones. I mean,
that would be nice, but this one seems more disconnected than even Lower Decks does. And Ervik, as much as I'd like to take a dump on Prodigy, I cannot at all talk down about the theme song for this show. This theme is awesome for Prodigy. And I like Giacchino's scores. So, yeah, the music for Prodigy is dang good. That's one thing I'll always watch for. And Lower Decks music too. Thomas Potts has chimed in with no wonder why Cisco still hasn't been put on trial for revealing classified information. Last trial, the judge is biased. The judge is not existing because the court-martial shows have been canceled.
Why were they canceled?
Because I canceled them.
Okay.
Mr. Londell says, "What if the Romulans knew all along, but they had to get that senator out of the way before they could do anything? Starfleet actually did them a favor." John, this one's for you.
I mean, that's an interesting theory. We don't really know that much about internal Romulan politics, but if that's true, I mean, maybe they would think it was a favor.
Gorilla.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, we were asked a question?
Yeah. What if the Romulans knew all along about Vreenak being in the way and they really wanted to align themselves with the Federation against the Dominion, but Vreenak was in the way, so they had to get rid of him somehow. And
Oh, that's very plausible because Vreenak was the reason that the Romulans did join the war. So, for all we know, they could have been planning to assassinate him the whole time just so they could come enter the war because they knew that the Dominion wouldn't leave them alone afterwards. They just have a harder fight on their hands.
all right, so now I'm also now being accused of having sodium chloride in my system. I do have high blood pressure, but I don't have much sodium chloride like that, Thomas. I'm not making an official theory about, there's 6 timelines and, everything changed after Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan or whatever. Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there in the wind. Ervik says, great Star Trek. Yet another alternate timeline to make it more confusing for anyone trying to get to probably get into Star Trek. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Prodigy's not doing a good job of being a gateway Trek series, as far as I'm concerned. Let me get your thoughts on that statement I just made, Gorilla.
Well, here's the thing I've said about the 5 new shows we've had. There, I'm not going to defend Discovery or Picard. You know, I don't like them. But, like, for Prodigy, my kid loves it. It's getting my foot in the door to get him to watch more Star Trek shows. If anything, that helped get the kid's foot in the door. Lower Decks, it's funny. It's a great member-berry show. It's funny. You know, and Strange New Worlds, though it's not perfect, is perfect there. I think it's more in the right direction of getting Star Trek back to where it used to be.
John?
As for Prodigy being a gateway, I don't really think building a show specifically for kids was really necessary. Now, I think I like Prodigy better than you do overall, but by the time I was the age that Prodigy is being directed at, I was already watching like quote unquote regular Star Trek because it was usually considered a family show. So I think that's one of the things that modern Star Trek has gotten away with. They do specific shows targeted at specific age groups instead of just making one show that anybody could watch.
And just for the record, Thomas, I don't have the energy or the time to actually sit and animate the show. It was going to be an animated show to begin with. But that's the reason why one of the main reasons why I canceled it, because the animation process is just taking so much of my time up and just not worth it. That is the only reason why I'm canceling the court-martial shows. Because again, full disclosure, it was fully supposed to be animated in the first place. The first couple episodes, they weren't animated. The next episode after that was going to be animated, and I started doing all the artwork and everything, and it was turning out okay. But when I was thinking of making progress, I only put a 30-second dent into an hour show. So, just not happening from a production standpoint. Eric would like to know, it's like, what's going to happen to Romulus and Vulcan? I'm not sure, Eric, if you could follow up on that one for us real quick.
Well, if he's going with Discovery there, they reunify and become Navarre.
Yeah, like 900 years into the future, I think.
Well, the show is set, but they could have reunified like 400 years into the future, for all we know, or all that I remember.
Brad Wolf asks, can someone tell me why I'm hearing rumors of Kirk facing off with the Borg? Is something in the works, or am I getting smoke blown up my kilt, as it were? IDW came out a couple of years ago with the Kelvin timeline of Kirk's new ship. It's not the Enterprise A. After Star Trek Beyond, getting trapped in the Delta Quadrant and having to rescue Sulu, who got assimilated by the Borg.
That's just weird.
That was just bad.
It sounds like they're going by everybody's favorite villain and going back and reusing them. The only reason we brought the Romulans into TNG because they felt they overused the Klingons in the original series. They didn't want to overuse them.
4 episodes. I don't know why they were used. They only used 4 episodes in 4 of them.
Well, they did. Well, go ahead, John.
Sorry. I was going to say on TNG, originally the Ferengi were supposed to be the main villains, but when they realized the Ferengi were a joke, that's when they started relying on the Romulans more as the antagonist.
All right, we're going to just go through these last few comments and questions here because we're going to wrap this up as we're going a little bit over time. Mr. Londell says, I haven't seen Prodigy or Lower Decks. My hatred for STD, Picard, or Strange New Worlds is unbounding. Trek died after Enterprise. Yeah. Gorilla John.
Well, I would agree with the part about the hatred for STD, Picard, and Strange New Worlds. I think there's some good stuff in the animated shows, but I understand why people don't like them.
Let's go on. Sorry about this. We're coming up on the end of our show. So Navarre is the original planet that got destroyed by JJ Trek. Navarre is Vulcan. So
No,
yeah.
Vulcan, yeah, Vulcan got destroyed in J.J. Abrams' Trek.
Mr. Londell follows up with Klingons were not overused in TOS. Romulans were underused, though. I completely agree. I would love to have seen more of the Romulans. And then Romulus destroyed by a supernova. Both, actually. Ervik. Both. Navarre is Vulcan, and that got destroyed in the alternate past. Romulus got destroyed in the prime timeline, so they both bit it. In the timeline here. Thomas throws in Borg Khan in a Borg whale probe would be great.
Unstoppable.
You'd be disabled by the whale probe while getting Moby Dick spat at you, and then assimilated by somebody spitting out Moby Dick. From hell's hearts, I assimilate thee. For hate's sake, I throw my last bit of nanoprobes at thee, and resistance is futile. Yeah, I can see that going over well. All right, folks, we're coming up to the end of our broadcast. I'm gonna throw the floor to my panel. I'd just like to say thank you both to John and Gorilla for joining us. I'm going to give you guys about 1 minute and throw out your final thoughts. We'll go to Gorilla.
Well,
Gorilla's final
Eric,
thoughts.
let John go first, so I know what you're looking for final thoughts.
Anything, actually.
Okay.
Whatever you have in your mind, either about this topic or something else you want to bring up.
No. I could leave the chat with a question there, or with a thought. Just think if the Borg was assimilated Red Foreman, their new catchphrase would be, "We are the Borg, prepare to have our boot up your ass." Okay, that's all. That's my final thought.
Interesting, because I could see the Borg now calling everybody a dumbass.
Yeah.
Resistance is futile. Lower your shields, dumbass.
I just remember that that's the one thing I remember about the '70s show was I'm gonna put my foot up your ass.
Another great actor, Kurtwood Smith.
Yeah, and he played in what was that episode? Year of Hell. Year of Hell.
Yep, he was Anarax. He was also the Federation president in Star Trek VI.
Oh, was he?
Yes, he was.
Yep.
I'll have to look again.
John?
I just want to thank you, Tokyo, for being on the panel. It was an interesting discussion.
Yeah, thank you.
Tonight, I'm looking forward to the next one.
All right. Thank
When's
you
the
both for
next
coming
one?
on board. Oh, it'll be same time next week, unless anything happens in real life, and then I will make an announcement on Discord, which if you are not subscribed to my Discord, you need to. It is in the description box below. It is free. It will always be free. There are no strings attached. And you can also submit your questions whenever we have live town hall right there on Discord, and I will be taking questions and throwing them at the Legion from there. I want to shout out quickly, gentlemen, please plug your channels. If you can, post your link to the channels in the chat. Gorilla, I think you have. I don't know if you have.
Well, I don't have my link all up and ready to go. My computer's being a little bit slow tonight, but yeah, come join us tomorrow night as we're continuing season 3 of Babylon 5 for a watch party and doing a live reaction. Then we're finishing up our H.G. Wells month because we're going to do 6 weeks of Christmas. But we're watching War of the World, the original War of the Worlds tomorrow. Stranger Things on Wednesdays, then Walton's reviews on Thursday.
John?
Thank you. As usual, on tomorrow, Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're doing the Star Trek themed Jeopardy on my channel. We invite anyone who would like to join us. We take contestants from the audience. Professor Brain Specs has designed an excellent Jeopardy board. So I hope you check it out if you're interested. Also, if you check out my channel, I release Star Trek and other sci-fi videos over the course of the week.
Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining me on this week's episode of the Chaotic Town Hall. We will be back this time next week for episode 3. What we talk about is up in the air, and it's also up to you. So please share this video. Comment down below if you have any other questions you'd like us to discuss on the next live stream. I want to thank everybody that came to chat with us. Of course, John and Gorilla for joining me here on the panel once again. Thomas Potts, Bird of Prey 5, Cinnabon Bunny, and I'm saying it wrong because I'm always thinking of the dessert shop Cinnabon. It's Cinnabon Bunny. Brad Wolf 07, Aravic Sonder, thank you guys so much for coming on board. I'm scrolling down the chat here. I'm not going to forget anybody here, so please don't worry. You are getting a shout out. Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies. Mr. Londell, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. You're welcome anytime. Also, LDG hashtag free the net. Thanks for coming on and saying hi, LDG. And I do believe that is everybody that was in the chat. For one last time, Thomas Potts claiming the games are rigged, and we have yet to see him present solid evidence of the rigging. He has suspicions, which could pan out. I am not admitting anything because I have no idea.
How about asking a question that's not visually in the show?
Sure.
For example, the Sela question.
She was visibly in the show.
Visibly? What episode was that again?
The Mind's Eye. She's in the shadows, but you can see her and hear her voice.
Okay, I'm gonna relook at that again.
Yeah. I'm calling. Yeah, I got to call. I got to see that episode, but I got to call shenanigans on that one, as you know.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but you said it's in the Mind's Eye. Is it towards the middle, the middle front of that beginning or end?
I think it was close to the beginning. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
Thomas,
so did Cinnabon. He predicted the answer to a lot of $100 questions.
It's ought to be less predictable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure John asked the one what's the name of the ship that was always parked at DS9 on the pylon.
He did.
And where was the answer to that one ever mentioned?
Well, that wasn't mentioned, but I don't remember asking that one specifically. I've seen it come up a couple other places.
Thomas is questioning John on Trek knowledge isn't a smart thing to do.
No, I'm not. Well, I'm just asking questions. That's all I'm doing.
We don't question, John. We respectfully challenge.
I've been known to make mistakes.
If anything, I'm learning anything there.
All right.
So.
Anyway, folks, that's going to do it. If you want to see the continuation of these debates, come join John's channel tomorrow evening, 9 Eastern?
Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Japan time Sunday, and to see Jeopardy and even try to join in on the fun if you like. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again on the next Chaotic Town Hall. So for my panel, this has been the Tokyo Trekker. See ya.
Yeah,